Welcome guys to my creative corner. This is Claudette. Why create projects using inks, papers, mixed media, stamps, embellishments, and a whole lot of joy. So on today's project, I'm going to be showing you a technique how to stamp with your clear blocks. So if this is something that you're interested in, please do stick around. If you're new to my channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button as well as the bell icon so you could be notified when I upload my latest videos. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. So let's get started in today's project. So this is pretty simple stamping. My base cardstock is in early espresso and is measuring 8.5 by 5.5 and it's fold down at 4.25. This top layer is in very vanilla and that's measuring 5.25 by 4. I'm going to list all the measurements in the description down below as well as the supplies that I use. These products are by Stampin' Up and I am a Stampin' Up independent demonstrator. So on the card that I'm going to be recreating with you today is going to be a little different, okay? So first what I'm going to do is put down a scrap piece of paper. So I'm going to bring in a piece of cardstock, and this is in a white cardstock, and we call this Whisper White, and this is measuring 4 3/4 by 3.5 inches. So my measurements are in inches. So we're going to be working with a couple colors. So we're going to work with terracotta tile, we're going to work with granny apple green, and we're going to work with daffodil delight, the yellow, and early espresso, which is a dark brown. All right, and the two blocks that I'm going to be stamping with are these two sizes, and these are in the letter C and this one is in the letter B. So what we're going to do is start out with the larger block, and we're also going to be using some aqua painters. We have new ones. These are the older ones, and the new ones comes 3 in a pack and they call water painters. So the first color that I'm going to start out with is the yellow. So we're going to take the larger block and we're just going to get that inked up, and you could call this abstract art. And everyone is going to, all these designs are going to come out differently, and that's the coolness about crafting. It has all its unique designs. I'm just going to put like a splash of water and I'm just going to rub that through and make sure all areas are wet. And then I am just going to put this down on my paper on an angle right in the center. And I'm going to hold that down just for the color to grasp. All right, so I'm just going to clean my brush off until that is clear. My tip is red because, you know, red usually stains. All right, so the next color, I'm going to get the smaller of the two blocks, and this is in the block is B. I'm going to go ahead and put the yellow up. Then I'm going to bring in the granny apple green. And we're going to take our next block and ink that up. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to add a blob of water. Squeeze that, add that, and just circulate that too. And then we'll just add this here on the side. Okay, so you see that one, some of the areas of water kind of spread it out. Some areas didn't get any ink, but that's okay. Next, what I am going to get is our terracotta tile. So I'm going to bring in the same smaller block, and that is in the B block. And let's go ahead and ink that up. And then I'm going to add some water. And you could add as, let's just clean our block. I didn't clean my tip off. And you could add as less as, you know, more water if you want. But the less you use, the more color you obviously have. So let's go ahead and add that down this side. And with this, you could use watercolor paper. This is just regular paper that I'm using. Next, I'm going to bring in a sentiment. I'm going to bring in the Rooted in Nature stamp set. I'm using that. And I am going to use the sentiment, You Are Wonderful. I like the print. There's two different print, and I love the big, bold print. So we're going to put our ink up. This stamp set also comes with dies. So I'm going to bring in the ink in Early Espresso. Okay, so we're going to bring in our sentiment, and we're going to be using Early Espresso. And I am just going to stamp it along that larger block in the center. Next, I am going to add some leaves. So within this stamp set, you have several leaves to choose from. I am going to use this leaf right here. So we're going to ink that up in Early Espresso. So I'm going to add a leaf right down here in this smaller block. So we're going to ink that leaf up again. And then I'm just going to turn it in a different direction, and we'll add that right here in the upper block. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this through our embossing folder. And this embossing folder is a 3D embossing folder. And this embossing folder is called Tasteful Textile. And I am going to go offline and I'm going to run this through my cut and emboss machine, and I shall be right back. So I ran that through my cut and emboss machine. And this is the texture that we got. So next, what we're going to do is take a scrap piece of card stock, and this is in our Whisper White, and we're going to stamp up our sentiment on there. And we're going to go ahead and take our snips and cut that out. And if you're one that like a little bit of the white showing, you could leave a little bit of the white out. Alrighty, so we'll get our scrap piece of paper out of the way, and we're gonna go get some mini dimensionals and pop that up. So we'll bring in the mini dimensionals, and it says You Are Wonderful, Be You. So we'll go ahead and pop that up. And we'll put 2 dimensionals on there. If you have the larger ones, you could cut those down to size to fit behind your sentiment. So we'll take the backends off. And then we'll just add Be You right underneath You Are Wonderful. Then I'm going to bring in my base of my card. This is measuring 5.5 by 8.5, and then you're going to score it down or fold it in the middle at 4.25. Then I'm going to bring in some designer series paper or printed paper if you're new to these terminologies. And this printed paper is in good taste. And these are like textile looking paper. I think they're just beautiful paper. So we'll add some layering to our card. So I'm going to add some multi-purpose glue, and they have like design on both sides. And this looks like more of a plaster work on the opposite side. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. And this layering piece, if I didn't mention it, is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. Then we're going to go ahead and add this layer to this. And if you want, you could pop this up or just glue it down just like that. I think I'm just going to glue this down just like that. If you guys are getting any creative value from this video, please go ahead and hit the like button down below. And we're going to add this to the center of this. And this is the one I made previously. So you could ramp it up, you could add a bow, you could add some gems to that, and however you would like, but this is pretty much simple, easy stamping. Guys, try this technique, get out there, be creative. Thank you guys for tuning in to my creative corner. This is Claudette, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.